Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our second episode of spring of 2021. This evening, we have a very special guest. Um, we have our very own Vera Quijano. Vera, welcome to our speaker series.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great this evening. How are you doing?
Doing fine. Well,
Given our
difficulties.
technical difficulties.
Yes.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank our participants, our attendees this evening for your patience. We had a last minute change with our Zoom link, but here we are and the show must go on. And so this evening we do have a very, very special episode this evening. And Vera, we are so glad to have you this semester. We tried the fall semester, but unfortunately, things had to be worked out, but we finally got you with us this evening. So go ahead, tell us a little bit about, what you do. And we'll go more into that later on this evening, later on in the episode. But what do you do for our campus?
Well, presenting here with the hypothesis that practicing yoga compels wisdom and well-being, and that I could provide scientific proof that humans can self-heal via yoga. And so I teach yoga, and salsa dancing I did, but it's been illegal since March. So for a year now, I haven't been teaching salsa dance, and I miss it. It makes me very sad, but I can't wait to go back. But so yoga only right now.
Okay. And I must say, I did that online yoga class.
Oh, yay.
And I like it. It kind of exposed me to areas that I need to work on, and to better myself, in my mobility. So, I was like the little happy baby pose. It wasn't too happy for me. But, I'm constantly working on that mobility. And so it's very important, and, I really do believe personally in the power of self-healing and our health, which unfortunately, is neglected due to our busy lifestyle, especially here in this area. So self-care is very important. And so we understand that you're a Cañada alum. And so why did you choose Cañada?
Well, first of all, I've lived in Redwood City since forever, since the early 70s. And this is the closest campus. Our family only had a couple of cars, and there's 5 of us. So I'm the middle of 5 kids, and the closest, cheapest gas route was straight to Cañada College.
Okay.
So that was the main reason. Community college was the way, but neither of my parents went to college. So it was the one step that was the easiest access and affordable for our family.
Okay. Excellent. And then, so you chose Cañada, and what did you study at Cañada College?
Liberal studies. I didn't know what I was doing. So I did liberal studies. I did well. It was fun. I enjoyed it. And then I went to San Francisco State University.
Okay. And so what'd you major in at San Francisco?
At SFSU, I majored in cell and molecular biology, and I minored in chemistry, which at that time was the pre-med degree.
Okay. So you went from liberal studies, because, when I hear liberal studies, I hear of someone who wants to be a teacher. And then you went into STEM. So now that's interesting. So what impelled you to go into STEM? And then also, why did you choose San Francisco State?
Well, San Francisco State also was a close CSU. It was accessible. It was, you got to see what the tuition was back then. It was like a few $100s a unit. But it did have the best pre-med program for going into the path to go to UC, SF, and a couple other of the med schools that was the reason I went there.
Okay. Okay. So were you considering medical school?
I was, and I changed my mind midway when I was pregnant with my daughter.
Okay. 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 Yeah, that can change things.
Yeah, well, the pregnancy is not what changed my mind. It was, I completed the degree, and it was, what it was when my daughter, our family, her dad and our small family went to Mexico. And we thought it was a smart idea as these young 20-year-olds with the renting a bug and driving into Mexico for a month. And she got sick. And I went to the doctor, and they wanted to give her this medication for this symptom and that medication for that symptom. And then you do this. I'm thinking, why give all this medication for this for this baby? I wanted to be a pediatrician. And so that was one thing that was, I don't know about this about Western medicine. And then the other thing that happened, I brought my daughter in for a well check, and I was waiting in the waiting room, and I overheard that that a baby had died. And I started crying I was holding my new baby, I was like 23 or 24. And I just thought, some people could do that. I can't do dead baby. I can't have that as part of my life. I knew I couldn't emotionally handle that. And I fled from that path. I did complete the degree though.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess that experience, helped you choose what you wanted to do.
Yes, it did. It did. And that's what got me into exploring Dr. Deepak Chopra and going to his center in La Jolla and studying Ayurveda and yoga and meditation and chakras and, just wellness in general. And that became more tangible to me. It's complementary. I'm not against Western medicine, but there are strengths there. There's strengths in every kind of healing art, right? But some things, what resonated with me was not the Western approach. And that way, the Ayurvedic, that approach did. I love the teachings of Dr. Deepak Chopra.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. And then with San Francisco State, do they offer you any type of opportunities as far as like within the cellular molecular biology? Do they try to encourage you in, pursuing something in industry?
You know what? The times were different then. That was back in the day that AIDS was brand new to the community. This is the late 80s. So I know I'm ancient. So it was not, there were different kinds, the programs weren't as supportive as they are here. There were no computers, there was no internet. When I started at Cañada, I took a class called Intro to the Internet.
Oh, wow.
There wasn't an internet. There weren't computers. We had word processors. The first Mac came out when I was a student at SFSU. Making copies, you had to go to the 5th floor to the science floor. You didn't do anything online. So it was always walking to a building and talking to a body. There was nothing computer accessible. So if they had it, I didn't know about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Students today have no idea how easy they have it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
At your fingertips 24/7, yes.
I guess if there was a pandemic when you were going to school, I guess school was out of the question.
Yep. Yes.
Wow. What an interesting concept,
Right.
Right. And also too, for our viewers, if you have any questions, you can type in your questions, and then we will answer them as they come in. If you want to use a question and answer box. I'm sorry, I forgot to let everyone know that. And so you decided, okay, you're not going into medicine, because of, your experience at the doctor's office with the baby. And then then you pursued your master's, your MPA. And then so was that encouraged because of what you were learning in La Jolla?
No, what happened was I finished my degree. I ran into a friend from high school who salsa danced. And she said, why don't you come salsa dancing with me? I said, great, I'll go. And I got hooked. And then I started teaching all the way. I taught through the community. I taught in Redwood City, San Carlos, Belmont, in Millbrae, everywhere, San Mateo, through the Woodside, through all these different recreation departments, private clubs. And Cañada College called me to teach salsa dancing on campus. And I didn't even have my master's yet. That's when they did equivalency. And I taught thousands. I used to teach tap, ballet, jazz, and acrobatics to children. So I've taught thousands of little children, and through elementary and high school dance. I don't know if you knew that. I don't know if I told you that.
I did not know.
Yes. So that's what got me to Cañada College. And then those classes just took off. And in the midst of that, there was an issue. Two things happened. There was the student activities coordinator, what Misha's doing now. That person just dropped out, and I became the fixer. So the VPSS at the time hired me to fill in as the interim student activities coordinator. So then I was doing all the student government stuff. And then right when that position was filled, I became financial aid, the interim financial aid and scholarship coordinator. So that went through all that. It was in that role where I decided to pursue my MPA, my master's in public administration, which I did at Notre Dame NDNU.
Okay.
Yes, because I wanted to go into administration.
Wow.
Yes. But guess who changed your mind again?
Okay. Yeah. So now you're not, it's evident you're not an administrator. And then you have a master's in human anatomy and physiology. So what spurred that?
It was really looking at in 2015, I got hit by a drunk driver, got a brain injury, and I didn't think I'd be able to dance again. And I didn't think I'd be the yoga at the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, financial, the wellness, just everything is wrecked. And you're not, being brain injured is not anything I ever wish on anyone, but it's difficult as years passed and I'm still dizzy having these issues, I wanted to teach something, something that was related to what I do with the anatomy and the physiology in the background at the master's level. So I pursued that to continue, either teach A&P online or teach or incorporate it into what I already did. And what I found is I enjoyed teaching the A&P through yoga. That's to me the best healing modality. And I think for my students, and I'm talking from, I don't think this, I know this, that from my student feedback, and I've taught a few thousand students at Cañada yoga and salsa dancing, that it is something that they appreciate. There's the one side of the house that likes the chakra stuff and the breathing exercises and the visualizing your God or your guide and that stuff. And then the other side of the house likes the hard science and going through the 11 body systems and looking at how the respiratory system is affected and just, the different body systems. So I think both are important, and it's very holistic. Yoga means union, body, mind, soul. So it really rounds out that approach to teaching yoga, which I think is a need for the whole world. I know it is.
So, yeah, because, as we were talking prior to this, people do things out of habit, or they understand something due to practice. It's just like, okay, we do it this way because this is how it's always been done. Yes. But, they really don't understand, why, this works.
Right.
I always say, like, the mechanic in physics, mechanic knows to use, this type of wrench. He knows to do it from this angle to get the bolt off because he's done it, for the past 25 years. But if you ask them why, they
don't know torque, they don't know apply pressure, they don't know the right exactly.
Right. And so with, like how you've incorporated that with yoga, that's really awesome. That's really awesome. And so my next question is, with what you're doing, because, a lot of our students, we do have students who are in STEM, and then some students who are in the biologies, and they always, their train of thought is always either medical school or industry, some big company to create a vaccine, so to speak, since we're in a pandemic. but they
Yes.
never think of the, holistic healing. Um, and so why is it important with what you're doing? And, how can students, consider that as a career?
I feel like now times are very different, even more so now post, in COVID. I feel like it's something that there's a very strong need for it. And I'll give you an example. My daughter who went to Cañada, I have a 29-year-old daughter and I have a 4-year-old granddaughter. And I asked my granddaughter, who's not 4-year-old, fourth grader. And I asked her, I said, what do you think kids need these days, having been in the pandemic and they have the option to go to school. Some are there in the class, some aren't. So it's very, everyone knows how difficult it's been and how we're in new territory. I said, what do you think kids need right now to heal and just get through this pandemic? And she said, yoga. That was her answer. Because I teach her, she does the breathing technique, she does the visualization, she does the things with the chakras. She was in an argument wasn't an argument, someone had made a comment to her and she said, Mams, she calls me Mams. She said, Mams, one kid asked me today why I didn't say something back to this kid. And she said, well, remember you said with your throat before you say without the throat chakra. And that's really, there's thyroid, parathyroid, there's a lot of, anatomy related to that. But she said, remember what you told me? If it's not true and if it's not necessary, it's not kind, you shouldn't say anything. So I just didn't say anything. And these are the principles that the kids need right now. That's what we all need it. Everyone's bullying. It's like, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. Democrat, Republic, paper, plastic, pro-life, pro-choice. Let's focus on us. Let's go back to self, right? Self-awareness, self-responsibility. Maybe that throat needs to shut up. Some feel they need to speak up. It's that the awareness is key first. There's the medical field gives medication after medication after medication before you could even check in. How do you feel? Most people don't know. And it's really cool to see that evolution in my classes over and over and over.
Right. So
everyone needs it. Everyone needs this. So especially now we're talking about being online right now, it's got to be something that's a field it's going to open everything up, because now I'm not confined to Redwood City. I could share this with the world. On Instagram, I do these Instagram live classes now. They're free, but people could get in a program and then you create your own. My goal isn't that you keep on having to watch me. It's read my student learning objectives. You create your own routine. It's to empower you to self-heal. Be aware. You will use other healing modalities. You might, not will, but might, but at least be aware of what you have control of. And you really need that yoga, that awareness, but you need the anatomy and physiology too. You need that awareness too.
Right. And so I think another question. So how can I say the science community be more open to helping students understand that, what they're learning in like this STEM, like, I always, I'll just call it the life sciences, how it can be used in other areas that are just not so STEM focused?
I think that it's becoming more mainstream. There's, I just noticed this. I was just going to look at this thing. Since my brain injury, I write everything down. I keep everything in a journal. And in this journal, one of the first quotes in here says, the intuitive mind is a sacred gift. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. And you know who that quote is by? Albert Einstein. So Albert Einstein knew well enough that, our brains, I loved my brain before my injury. It was just so smart and such a faithful servant, but I really wasn't in touch. Third eye is intuition. You don't, unless you have that mindfulness, that intuition center is not going to open up, because you're always in anxiety or in depression or anger or a mixture of all those, and you can't get out of it. Two of my favorite books I always share in class. This is The Biology of Belief. And he's a PhD. This is Dr. Bruce Lipton, cell biologist, who teaches these principles. And he was a Stanford professor, right? And then I love that book. And this other one, The Body Keeps Score. This is brain, mind, and body in the healing of trauma. but he's a MD where we do this in class, where you're going up the body line. I'll call it chakra line, but it's really, you could call it solar plexus, sacral plexus. There's a plexus of nerves, it's the A&P shows it in an A&P book. I use the A&P book also, but where people carry their stress. So more and more people are open to learning this way, and they find it more credible. I'm not just, sprinkling mashed potato flakes over you and singing a song, right? And then saying abracadabra, there's something to it. So I like to always back the science. The science is there. So, and I think it's for a certain person too, but the science is there to support the traditional yoga, but you need the science. So for those STEM people, it's physics, right? It's cell biology, it's molecular biology, it's cell biology, it's physics, right? It's chemistry, it's biochemistry. We could believe that you're going to catch COVID and your entire nervous system, everything changes. Your biology, the biochemistry changes depending on your belief. You could talk yourself into same stimulus. Stimulus is a roller coaster. If you are afraid of the roller coaster, you create chemicals of stress, and any cancer cells in your body, you will proliferate those cells, right? If you love the roller coaster, those will create chemicals of joy. Same stimulus, different response, different belief, different interpretation. It's a fact.
Right,
so,
right.
You can't deny it. It's measurable. It's a measurable fact. Biochemical, right. Measurable.
It's interesting. I know, back in the 80s, 70s and 80s, the issue with chiropractors, it was like a thing where they were not considered doctors, and it was just something you just did on the side or something.
Right.
And now they're starting to, the medical community is just like, yeah, chiropractors are very important. And so I found out that my grandfather was a chiropractor.
Wow.
And I never knew that. And he was a chiropractor in San Francisco, in the 40s, and 50s. Well, from the 40s to the 80s, he was a chiropractor. And then, the chiropractors that I've dealt with, they know a whole lot about the human body. And I thought to myself, well, why wasn't this practice accepted by the medical field? And it's just interesting because there are certain things like chiropractors could diagnose that doctors cannot.
Right.
So it was just real interesting to me, just seeing that shift.
Yes.
But it's the same thing. And essentially a chiropractor has to take the same classes that, doctors have to,
Yes.
They have to take the human physiology, anatomy, and things like that.
Right. Yeah. My sister's a chiropractor, and that is the one modality that I'm still, it's still now I go see my chiropractor for these last issues in my body from the whiplash injury and in my back. And of course, right, if the spine is off, what do you want? And a couple of, painkillers, or should we reset it first and keep, right? It just makes sense. It just
right.
makes
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's like the spine, if it's not aligned and it's kinking on something, a pill can't fix that.
Right.
It can just help you deal with the pain.
Yes.
But it's not going to correct that.
Right.
You need someone to adjust it and,
Yes.
realign things.
See, and that's one of the things too that I make a point of sharing with my students. And hopefully they know, the STEM students know, sciencedaily.com or sciencedirect.com. One thing as scientists, as science students, is we always want to look at different perspectives. So I will share scientific studies that support what I'm saying, but I do encourage students to explore studies that are against what I'm saying. Some people say yoga causes, bad back. Great, let's read the study and then let's all get to decide on our own how it applies to us. I don't impose stuff on people. It's like chiropractic works for me. Maybe if you want to explore it, explore it. If not, that's fine too. But do your research. Who told you, who told them, and who told them?
Right? Exactly.
Yes.
So with your class, and now how long have you been teaching yoga at Cañada? Because I understand you've been, salsa, doing the dance thing for a long time.
I
So how long
think,
have you been doing?
I think it's 2004 or five, around there.
Okay, okay. And so are you the main yoga instructor for our campus?
No, there's one other yoga instructor. There's no real main, it's just that it's the
Okay,
same class. So there's one other yoga instructor.
right, right. And I know this semester your class is on campus, and I forget, can students still register for the class, or has it?
This is not on campus. Did you say it's on campus? It's
I
all
mean,
on.
sorry, I'm
Yes.
sorry. Uh,
Right. We wish it was on campus.
yeah.
God, it's so sad.
Can the students still add the class?
No, it's a little too late, but I am doing those Instagram live classes and they're saved on. I'm so new to all this stuff. So January 19th was the first day, but they're welcome to join it, but it's 7 a.m. The live is 7 a.m. I'm going to start something called TBI yoga tomorrow at 8 a.m. So the 7 a.m. is 45 minutes. And then the 8 a.m. I'm going to do very slow, gentle, but they're free and they're saved on the IGTV thingy. I'm new to this. We have this much space to teach. Sometimes my foot will go off the screen. We're dealing with what we got right now, but other people, you're welcome to join and try it out. But start on the first class 7 classes ago.
All right. Yeah, because it's a progression.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, if me and my baby happy pose, if we were happy on the first day.
Call the doctor.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna have to get in contact with your sister to straighten me out, and see what happens. Awesome. And then, so let's say a student who is a STEM major right now in the life sciences, and they do want to pursue what you're doing. What would be the career pathway for them to do that?
I think things have changed so much now. I don't know what's happening with look what's online now and look at the changes that are going through our college, right? Transitioning, people coming on, people staying, I think I'm going to stay offline entirely. Stay off the campus entirely. I think we're in transition right now. And I think things are changing right now. It was coincidentally, this Yelp person called me today and he said, hey, you haven't been on your Yelp account since, this time. And I said, well, because I had a head injury and I didn't, I couldn't even type. I couldn't do anything. But he said, how are you going to teach your classes? And I said, you know what? I don't know. I just don't, I'm shaping that right now. When we got to purple tier and do we want to start going out to do we want the framework to be a fully online? Do we want to have a supplemental, on Saturdays we can go face to face, or be a one-on-one kind of consultant? I don't know. I don't know yet. I think this is going to change and things are going to grow from this COVID. I think what I call another COVID perk, where it's more accessible, something that's more accessible. Maybe it's an online course. I don't know.
Right.
But you want to follow. I like the fact that I understand the developmental biology. I understand sperm cell meets egg cell. That's one of the most important concepts to me, and that I know for sure that the body self heals, is that, they meet, cells divide so many times and they're exactly identical. And then a decision's made to become like, eyebrows and teeth and ear bones, right? And then a decision's made to be toenails and kneecaps, and what happened? And could we still make that decision? Could we still do that with our consciousness? I think so. I've been told lots of times from shoulder injuries, you need surgery, and it doesn't go away. You heard it like that, but it's not going to heal like that. There's a healing process, but it needs certain nutrients. It needs some time. It needs not some, I hate you. It's like, okay, thank you. Thank you for making me handicapped for this while, but I'm ready for the healing in my shoulder. So I like to have the background of some sort of developmental, cellular, molecular biology foundation. If one wants that, not everyone does. So it's different for everybody. You could go straight the yoga career path and just get your yoga certification. Not just get, it's not easy. But if you went to the Deepak Chopra Center, it'd be based on other things. He'd be putting something called his primordial sound meditation, like different, he'd frame it differently. Everyone, there's all kinds of choices. We have lots of choices when it comes to this. I prefer the science background and the correlation with the chakra system. That's what resonates with me the most.
Okay. Okay.
Not everyone, some students say, I don't believe in the chakra stuff. I said, great, let's talk about the solar plexus. Let's talk about that plexus of nerves, what the motor and sensory nerves do in this area and what this posture does for those nerves. We can switch it up. I like that as a college instructor. Not everyone wants to be a college instructor.
Right, right. And it's interesting too, because, when you talk about the chakra, I see that as the traditional yoga, people who go
Yes.
through the yoga certification, that's the pathway. And then when you talk about the solar plexus, that is more of the medical term that you hear. And
Yes.
also too, you hear that also in like martial arts and things like that.
Yes.
It's just like, with the strike,
Yes.
yeah, I know with, some of the ancient martial arts, they focused on that as well.
Right. See, and this is why I share on my syllabus. I don't require reading. It's a 1-unit course, but I just invite my students to grab whatever resonates with them. But this book is called, where am I? Up this way, The Quantum Doctor.
Okay.
And it is a physicist's guide to health and healing. A physicist, he's awesome. This is Amit Goswami. He has a PhD. And there's a section that's the science of the chakras in here. And he talks about the chakras. So that is what I think it piques curiosity. And when you have the PhDs and the MDs and the doctors with the traditional background in med school, bringing in this chakra work and this healing work and the consciousness and so forth, right?
Right. And so is it, we're speaking of the chakra, what is that? Because some of our, attendees might not understand the whole chakra process.
I think it's a question that will I could take a lifetime. Chakra means wheel. They're wheels of energy. There is this fantastic airbender video that I show in the theater when we were in the main theater. It's called a children's video explaining the chakra system or something like that. Just Google airbender and put that in there. And he just talks about, and if you look at it in developmental biology, because I kind of think of the germ layers, and when that I was talking about developmental biology, how things start differentiating. And then suddenly, like, I don't know, 30 days in, suddenly there's a heartbeat. So if you're going to just start with the heart, there's that center, there's this energetic center that's of the heart. That is what the condition of the heart is foundational to so much of your physical, mental, emotional well-being. So that is one of the chakras or energy centers is the heart. Then there are 3 energy centers this is in one system. I use the 7 chakra system, but there's 8 chakra system, there's 13 chakra system, there's all different kinds, which I've never explored, but there's 7. There's 3 above the heart and 3 below the heart. But to me, and the way I teach in my classes this semester for the first time, traditionally you'd start at the root and you'd go to the sacral, and then you go to solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and the crown. But a new approach I'm taking, which I feel because my brain really this year is just feeling ready to start working with the TBI folk. I work with the VA, the polytrauma unit, some patients there at the VA. And I think the heart center is one of the main things you need to look at. It's the first thing you need to look at, because how do you heal anything else if your heart is mad, sad, broken, grieving, and the heart supports the throat. So the words that are coming out of your throat very much reflect the condition of this heart. And I'll tell you this, the drunk driver who hit me, I hated her. And that word hate is a terrible word. But the hating hurts the hater. So I had to have that forgiveness in my heart first to really start healing the rest of the issues I had in my body, mind, soul, emotions. Then the words were a lot more happy, calm, not so angry. I was angry for a very long time. heal the heart, the anger, and the voice changes too.
Right. Yeah, it's just like, that saying the blind can't lead the blind. So it's just like, if you are ailing and you've got bad feelings, it's going to be hard for you to tell someone, be positive.
Be positive, not like me.
Right.
I'm pissed.
Yes.
Yeah, it took me, 5 some years to get past a lot of the feelings of betrayal and difficulty and physical pain. It's hard when you're in physical pain. So just going to your heart and doing some breathing exercises, that's one of the best things you can do. And most people, I call it the body cast test. Most people can do it from wherever they are, no equipment, don't have to be able to sit up and so forth. Just bring your attention there and bring some loving energy there.
Right. That's very true. And I think, we could use a whole lot of that, in
and
today's
you know what? Not
world.
one MD told me that. And that would have helped me. You're giving me this pain med. I was on all kinds of medications and all kinds of therapies, but no one ever said, let go of the pain, except for the psychologist. Like she said, forgive your heart, forgive your brain for being broken. And that changed because I was very mad that my brain didn't work how I wanted it to.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And all your cells are listening. They all say, oh, okay, we're not pissed anymore. We can let go of this and that. Right.
Right. Well, I mean, and like you said earlier, with the roller coaster, your body reacts, to different things on how you feel about certain things.
Your thoughts, your beliefs.
Yeah. So, I mean,
right.
Yeah.
This is scary. This is fun. No, it's scary. No, it's fun. Well, which is it? It's both. It depends on who you're talking about.
Right.
Same stimulus, different response.
That's very, very interesting.
Right.
And so, okay, so in the chat, could you type your Instagram handle for students if they want to?
It's Vera _Quijano.
Okay, then let me see if I could type that in there.
Yeah, can you? Because I can't. Oh, there's Ronda. Hi, Ronda. Oh, yeah, look at that. Ronda, if you don't know Ronda Wimmer, I love her. I haven't seen her in so long. This woman is brilliant. Are you typing it in there?
Yes. Make sure I'm spelling it right. So this is for Instagram Live.
Vera_QUIJANO. I have Tuesday and Thursday, 7 a.m. live for about 45 minutes. And then tomorrow I'm going to start a TBI 8 a.m. live for about 20 minutes. And that's one thing that no doctor ever said to me either. You can't give people with a brain injury a whole bunch of information. They can handle this much information. That's it.
Oh man, I messed up. Let me retype this thing again. Everything was, it ran together. All right. There we go. And then you said Tuesday and Thursday?
Tuesday and Thursday. It says it right on there. I put it up on the on my page thing. Yes, I'm a real expert. I'm not getting there. Anyone who wants to help, I'll trade you.
I like that.
Know how to do. My daughter gets so annoyed with me. Mom, you don't do that. It's not a website. It's an app. It's like, well, what's different? Rolls her eyes, walks away. No, she's very helpful.
Right. Yeah, I understand that. Oh, also too, I'm going to put in the chat, we have a survey. If you guys can please fill out the survey for this evening's episodes, get some feedback. It's in the chat as well. So in general, with what you've done, you're teaching yoga, and you have the STEM background. Just in general, how do you feel about your choice in doing this? Like I said, you have this foundation, you have this background, you come to the point, I don't want to be a doctor, but you're still helping people. you're still doing, that service, you're still serving people. And how do you feel about that? Because I mean, let's say if you decided to go into the medical field, let's say in a different capacity, make more money. How do you feel about the choice that you made now in your career?
I spoke with the colleague about, we, for a fun, bunch of colleagues got together and we decided to play the lotto when it was almost $1 billion, right? And we walked and talked, and we were just laughing, dreaming, what would you do? And I said, I would do the same exact thing I'm doing. I love teaching. I think the main thing, especially this age group, I love the Cañada College experience is my experience. I relate to the students who come to Cañada College. And I know that many students come from backgrounds who, English is not the first language. And, or my parents, English wasn't their first language. They didn't go to college. I'm first generation going to college. And I want to provide these tools that are foundational when you're getting faced with the adversity that we do get faced with. These foundational tools from yoga literally saved my life. So no matter, it's not a money thing. I don't need that much. I want to be happy in my own skin. I want my body to be healthy. I want my emotions to be healthy. I want to be able to sleep at night, right? And have a clear conscience. And
Right.
I don't want to strip the environment of anything. So I think this is something that everybody, every body, every human could benefit from, and the world would be a better place if people first focused on yoga being union of your body, mind, soul, and look at that strength and balance and flexibility of your body, of your mind, and be more open to different perspectives. Happy world. Problem solved. It's the only thing I want to do. It's it. There's nothing else. I
Right.
get to see the transformation right before my eyes. Oh my gosh, did you see that? I sat up without using my hands for the first time. I could touch my toes. You know how long it's been? I get to hear these stories, and and that's why as an adjunct faculty, which sometimes I call junk faculty because we've been fighting for parity for so long, I do it for the students. I will always do it for the students. And that's something that I wish they'd fix that we were, and I won't go into that, but this is my true love.
Right.
I
That's
love my
that's awesome. That's good to hear. It's interesting. Like, it's funny how myself being, I try to take care of myself. I try to be athletic. I try to, I'm not trying to win no gold medal. I'm not trying to, run a marathon or try, do any triathlons. To me, it's just like, okay, I don't need to do all that. But like I said, I want to be able to get up off the toilet by myself,
That's
when I'm
right.
100 years old. I don't want to need someone to come in there and pull me up off the toilet or, live like that.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me, like how many, just my experience that, there's people in their early 20s, late teens who can't bend over and touch their toes,
That's right.
or, they can't, you know, s- sit in a squatting position,
That's right.
um, because they just don't have that, natural mobility and things that a human should have.
That's right. It's a leading cause of death for elderly are falls. Are falls. And then when they do fall, they can't get up. And you got to be able to get up, without both hands sometimes. It's so important. And it's also, my granddaughter's in 4th grade. When she says, Mams, let's go skating down at the school, I'm going to get myself some skates because I still have the balance. I still have the flexibility. I still have the strength. I want to go on the swings. I want to do everything with her. Go through the bars, hang upside down. I could do it. And it's because of yoga. And I could do a cartwheel. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's awesome. That's good to hear. Well, you know what? We want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be a part of this. We're so glad to have you, and also to hear a different perspective. Um, you know, Typically, people with a STEM background, they come in and, it's about building, it's about creating, but you don't hear, you know, about self-care, you
Right.
know, you
Which is
know,
we're the human doings. We're human beings. So in yoga, you learn to be as a verb. That is an action, B. It's more difficult than any genetics course I took, any physics course I took, any molecular biology class. It is the most difficult, B. I dare you, try it. 1,000, 2, 1,000, on the phone, texting.
Right. Right. Well, that's so cool. So thank you again for,
Thank
like I said,
you.
participating. And hopefully when we get back to campus, I'll partake in one of those salsa classes.
Yay, hopefully, maybe 2022.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. I mean, but we still have to take care of ourselves in this pandemic.
Positively. To
And
hop on Instagram, don't wait yet, start doing something now. 3 minutes, 2 minutes, pick a number and then commit. Don't be lazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. I'm trying to take care of myself during this pandemic.
Yep.
You know, just in general, So again, thank you.
Thank you,
And
Rance.
so hopefully we'll be back on campus soon. And then yeah, we can do the yoga. I could do in the living room, the salsa. I'll wait till we get back on campus.
Okay. I understand.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. This has been fun.
All right. Okay.